All right. So now we're going to focus on the odd ones. Down, up, and up, down. And I'm going to use a similar strategy like I did in the last video. So first, I want to look at the graphs, and I want to make sure it's going down and then up. So down, up means it's going down on the left and up on the right. Down, up. So A fits that description. It's going down on the left side of the graph and up on the right side of the graph. B also fits that description. It's going down on the left side of the graph and up on the right side of the graph. G does not fit that description. It's going up and then down. So we're going to move this over to the corner. J definitely doesn't fit that description because it's going up on both ends. So we're going to move that to the corner. So let's put A where it goes. And B, looks like B goes here. Okay. So now let's look at these two. Odd power and positive leading coefficient, and even power and negative leading coefficient. Well, I know for a fact this is not even because evens go the same direction. So it would not be down, up. So I'm getting rid of that one. Odd power and positive leading coefficient. Well, it's definitely an odd power, and it's going up on the right. So since it's going up on the right, that does in fact mean that it has a positive leading coefficient. So we're going to drag that where that goes. All right. And oh, there's another one here. This one says odd power and negative leading coefficient. So I kind of just explained it's not a negative leading coefficient because of the fact that we know it's going up on the right. And if it's going up on the right, it's positive. So I'm going to get rid of that one as well. So now I'm going to look at these. Ones that tell me about the degree. Degree 7, cool, odd number. Degree 5, cool, odd number. Degree 2, oh, that's even. So I'm getting rid of that. All right, so let's see if both of these or either of these are true. So degree 7 and a leading coefficient of 1. Well, we know already that because it's up on the right, it does need to have a positive leading coefficient. So F is correct, and we're going to put F where it goes. But C is not correct because it says leading coefficient would be -4. If it has a negative leading coefficient, it would actually be going down on the right. So let's get rid of that one. And now let's look at the equations. And move these down here. Well, I automatically know I is not correct because the leading term here is negative x to the 8th. 8 is a even number, so I'm going to get rid of that. Y equals 4x cubed. 4 is positive number, so that looks good for my up. And 3 is an odd number, so that looks good for down, up. So this is correct. So let's put this where this goes, which is here. P is y equals negative x cubed plus 2x to the 7th plus x squared. Even though this is not in standard form, you should be able to determine that the leading term is 2x to the 7th power because the highest exponent is 7. So 7 is an odd number and 2 is a positive number. So this does go with down, up. So let's put that where it goes, which I believe is here. All right, so now we have 2 spots left, and it matches. So H matches with this bottom one, and O matches with this bottom one. So automatically K has to be correct because it's the only one that could go in this box. So let's just double check. As x approaches negative infinity, which means as it's going toward the left, f of x approaches negative infinity, which means it's going down. So what that really is translated to is it's going down on the left. Then it says, and as x approaches positive infinity, which is toward the right, f of x is going toward positive infinity, which really means up. So this is basically describing to us down, up. So this is correct, which I pretty much knew it was because it's the only puzzle piece that will fit. So now I just need to decide between these two, H and O. H says, as x decreases, f of x decreases. And O also says, as x decreases, f of x decreases. So we can agree that that's correct. As it decreases going toward the left, the graph is going down. Cool. So now what I'm looking for is the one that's going to tell me that it increases on the right. So as x increases, so as it goes toward the right, f of x increases. So H has to be the correct one because O says that it decreases. But we know that it's going up on the right. So that is down, up. And finally, we have up, down. Again, I'm going to start with the graphs. See, up, down. Cool. So I'm kind of just, we hopefully can see that at this point after several explanations of how it's going up on the left and down on the right. H, up on the left, down on the right as well. I, they're both going up, so that is not correct. That would be an even function. While M is an odd function, it's going down on the left and up on the right. So that's not the correct end behavior that we're looking for. So I'm going to now look at these ones that have the words. So odd power and positive leading coefficient versus odd power and negative leading coefficient. Well, it's going down on the right, so we know it has to have a negative leading coefficient. So it is an odd power with a negative leading coefficient. And if I'm going a little too fast, go ahead and pause the video. So now I'm going to be looking at the degree one. Did I miss any others? Nope. Okay. So both degrees, this degree is 5 and this degree is 8. 8 is an even degree. So since it's an even degree, I know it does not match with up, down because even degrees, graphs go the same direction, up, up, or down, down. So let's see if this one's correct. Leading coefficient is -4. If it has a leading coefficient that's negative, we've said over here that that was correct because it's going down on the right. So this is correct. See how these match? Odd power, negative leading coefficient. 5 is an odd power and -4 is negative. So cool, up, down. All right, now let's look at the equations. At this point, you should be able to determine what is standard form, and you should be able to know, you should know what a degree is. The degree is the highest exponent. You should be able to look at the function and say, that is the highest number, that's the biggest number, largest number, whatever synonym you want to use, and that's why it's the degree. And the number in front of the variable attached to that is my coefficient, my leading coefficient. So here, it is -2x to the 4th. Well, 4 is an even number, so that does not belong here. Here, -3x to the 7th. 7 is odd, and 3 here is negative, so this is correct. So this one belongs here. Yeah. All right, and then we have 4x cubed. Even though 3 is an odd number, 4 is positive, and we've said several times here we need a negative leading coefficient. Leading coefficient has to be negative, so this does not belong here. Here, the degree is 5, and the coefficient is -1. Okay, so that checks out with what we've come to say so far, is that you need to have an odd power with a negative coefficient. All right, so again, I'm gonna figure out, okay, so E could go here, and A could go here, K could go here, and P could go here. So it's between A and P and E and K. So A and P. So as x approaches -infinity, aka as it's going to the left, f of x approaches -infinity. Well, I disagree with that, because if f of x is approaching -infinity, that means it's going down. So I actually automatically disagree with that, because we see on the left side it's going up. So it has to be P. All right, and then between E and K, as x decreases, f of x increases as x increases. Excuse me, let me reread that. As x decreases, f of x increases. So as x is going to the left, y is going up. So I agree with that. And E and K say the same thing so far. So it's the second half that's going to determine which one is correct. So E says as x increases, f of x increases. So as it's going to the right, y goes up. So we know f is not correct. E is not correct because it's saying that it's going up on the right, which we know it says up, down. So it's going down on the right. So when you went through this, you were supposed to type the letters through this. And then at the end, you were supposed to put them all here. And that is how I was grading it. So at some point next week, I will post the official one. But if you really wanted to go through and see if your answers were correct, you could watch all the videos, which you should do anyway. All right, that's it for this one.